Hello, ladies and gentlemen, or everyone, or whatever. This is your host, EdxSarxNatxChoc, and welcome to my new video! So, yeah, it's been a while since I've done videos like this. I've been mostly focusing on Monster Request animations and whatever. So, this is like a one-time thing. I'm not gonna do more of these and whatever. So, like in the past, I'd say like 2 years ago or so, maybe more, I did a video like this, but about Luca. For April Fools. It was really funny too. So after asking my Discord, I was like, hey you guys, would you like to see a video about Monster Request? And they were like, sure, do it. And then I'm like, okay, I'll do it. I don't think I'm gonna do all the chapters because I'm very lazy. As you can see, why all of my videos are chapter 1, 2, and 3 separately. So yeah, this is mostly going to be about chapter 1. If I do a chapter 2, it's either because I'm very bored or I don't know. So anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna put up a small square somewhere on my screen about the game because I may lose track of the progress and stuff. So here we go. Let's start with the Slime Girl. If I have, yep. So what do you think about Slime Girl? As a waifu, I'm not sure. This isn't going to be a waifu tier list. This is gonna be a what do I think about the character and what's my biased opinion over them. As you can see, it goes from double S, S, A, B, C, D, and no! You'll understand why about the no when we're up in part 3, but for now, maybe not. So, Slime Girl, she starts at the very first monster. There's a lot of people that when they first played this game, they found out about Slime Girl. And, yeah, she's a very likable slime. She's fun, she's cool, and she's quite funny considering she's literally just a tutorial monster. So, yeah, what I think of her, well, she's at least an A, that's all I can say. So I'm doing this on Photoshop, so I'm not gonna do my best to just put them there. I'll be placing Slime Girl on A because she's cool. She's not the best, but she's pretty high up there and she has her moments too. But if we're gonna talk about Paradox, then she would be an S. Why an S? I'd say because when you start the game, she's a thief, and it's basically like the tutorial thief, and if you still play with her for a while, she basically learns how to open blue chests, which is very useful, by the way. So, just for Paradox, for that reason, and of course because of her scenes, I would put her over either A or S. But for this tier, I'll be putting her in S. Not double S, because that's a very specific slot. So, let's continue with the next monster. I'm gonna be going over this arbitrarily. It's not gonna be chronological or anything. So, I am going to skip some of these. Okay, so the next monster on the list would be, if I recall, this one is from chapter 1. It's the Shellfish Girl. So what do you think? What I think about this character? She's fine. She's okay. You only really encounter her in Port Natalia, but besides the fact that she's an ocean type monster, she's pretty forgettable. And all of the monsters I'm going to talk may be related to the future. What your favorite Monster Request wife talks about you. So yeah. I'm not gonna be basing on their looks because that's based on the artist. So, she's okay. She's kinda mid. So, unfortunately, I'll be putting her over at the C. Because otherwise, she doesn't really have much to the story. She's just there to be like an obstacle for Luca. Which is the same for about a lot of these monsters in here. So next we have the Sea Cucumber Girl. It's basically the same thing as the seashell. So I'm gonna be putting them in the C. But her CG is really boring, and you don't get to see all that much. So I'm gonna put her over in D. Next up is the Scorpion Lady in Chapter 1. You get to see this monster in the Safara ruins, in the Safara region in Chapter 1. She's a pretty decent monster. She does appear in the flashback of Maya. I mean, not Maya, Sarah, yeah. When she's about to get attacked by the scorpion, and then Grimberry saves her. And she's okay, I guess. She doesn't bring much to the plot, too much anyway. And I don't really like her, I guess. So for me, she's a C. Okay, so now this is the Sandworm. The Sandworm was fun, I guess, because she's like one of the very few monsters who can use his Dead Soul Chaos Star, which was really fun. And you didn't need to like be careful on the healing. Otherwise, she's a giant woman, and yeah, I guess. So appearance-wise, I don't know, but fun-wise, because it was really fun to just constantly attack her, even when you're bounded. It was really fun. So just because of that, I'll put her over in B. Mostly because of the fun factor that you could just speed her up in very fun ways. So next up is the Roper. So this is the first monster that Luke encounters that can actually roar him if he loses. And she had her moment where it was like, oh my god, she can eat people, ah! But other than that, she's pretty relevant. She doesn't come up in any other scenes. And then in Chapter 2, Luke encounters some way dangerous monsters. So no, she's only there for the beginning in Chapter 1 to make her seem like crazy. But she's very forgettable too. And her CG is dumb too. So I'm gonna put her over in D. Next up we have Rafflesia Girl. This one was interesting. I believe it was I think before Self? Let me check to be sure. Yeah, it was after Enrica and before Ilias Fourth. This was an interesting monster, I can say that much. Not very relevant in terms of the plot, but very interesting how you would lose, I guess. So I can't say all that much, but she has a cool design, and it's kind of sad that she's just like a monster Luke just has to beat up, because when you get meditation, it really adds up to the combat. But for now, it's just like, I guess. So just because of that, she goes into the C category. Next up, we have Queen Harpy. Queen Harpy is a fun monster. One of the very few monsters in Chapter 1 that literally can marry Luca outright if he loses to her. And in Chapter 3, she's really fun as well. She has another CG other than this one, which is really cool. And she's in the ending CGs of Luca's. She's a very cool monster overall. She's a pretty decent personality. She's pretty smart. And this is the first boss monster that you really can encounter in this continent. So just because of that, I would put her over in the A tier. But she is a harpy, and she does have that scene in the ending. And just because of that, I'll put her over in the S tier. Because, I don't know, harpies are fun, I guess. This is a very biased list, I know. So next we have page 65, I think? Let me check. Page 65, 537. like most of your quest rap. Ah, the cringe memories. Ah, the cringe. So this monster was kind of fun, I guess. Not fun in the boss fight, but fun in the sense how we actually beat her. Because, it was because of Alice, because she burned her potatoes. Like, who in their bright mind would actually try to roast potatoes in a library? Like, she may be the monster lord and all, but that was really not her big brain move trying to do that. And all throughout the game, she's shown to be like super intelligent, but she does that, and it's like super funny. Other than that, her design is pretty cool. She has her moves which can paralyze or give kind of temptation or surrender-like moves to look at during the boss fight. She's a cool monster, I guess. she's not forgettable per se, but she is pretty up there, I guess. So just because of that scene with Alice, I would put her over in A. And yeah, I guess she's also relevant to the plot of this books, The Four Spirits. So next up we have the book, page 17. Yeah, not much I can say. She's a cool monster, I guess. Her most appealing entry is kind of scary. And I guess that's about it. She's very iconic for being a book monster. And all of the book monsters entries are very scary, by the way. I don't know. I guess I would put her over in the C category. Like, she's fun and somewhat memorable, but not enough to like really remember her by. So I'm gonna mix up space. Okay, so next up is the Nefertilamias. This monster is in the pyramid in chapter 1, so very forgettable monster. You only really fight her because you're with Sarah. And yeah, it's very, very forgettable monster. She doesn't, her CG is boring too, so let's just put it over in D. So next up we have Nabi. So this one is kind of special. Why? Because it's one of the very few monsters that Luca could actually lose if he actually didn't have his special powers. So if he didn't have that, he would have lost, it would have been sad. But otherwise, she's a very important character. It's kind of sad she doesn't like come back in the story. It's only for plot, the plot of part 1. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. In Paradox, she's pretty cool too. I forgot a bit, but she's pretty cool overall. And she does come back in a lot of my animations because I mostly focus on chapter 1. And this is like the first obstacle, so I know about Nabi a lot. So, if I had to put her on the list, I guess it would be in the A tier, because she does make the first appearance of Luca. Tried to go angel mode in his sleep and whatever. So next up we have the Mummy. The Mummy was okay, I guess. Forgettable monster too. You're with Sarah, but still, even if you lose, it's not that interesting. You have some okay scene. I guess I would put her over in C, but her CG is kind of interesting to see, I guess. So I'll put her over in the B for now. So now we have the Minotaurus. The Minotaurus is interesting because she's the first monster that you fight after you get Sylph. And once you get Sylph and you don't use Sylph, it's an game over. So besides that, she's a cow, and her CG is okay, I guess, but she's very interesting, like in the design and what happens when you use Sylph and stuff. So while she is kind of forgettable, because she's the first monster that you encounter, it makes her somewhat memorable. So just because of that, she should go in the B tier. Okay, so now we have Mandragora. Mandragora, it's the first monster that Luca can actually say, no, I don't want to fight her because it would be rude. At least right too. Otherwise, she's pretty good in XP. If you beat her in normal mode, after you get your paralysis off, she just says, this isn't worth it, I quit, and she just leaves. But if you fight her on Hell or Hard mode, you can fight her normally. And otherwise, other than that, she was one of the first plant monsters in the game that you can actually have like 2 or 3 CGs. It was really very interesting. Very memorable character too, especially in Paradox, where her scream, because she's a getabout, basically she does her own thing. And because she does her own thing, she has a chance of like paralyzing the enemy with her scream. So because of that, she would be high up in the ranks. So I can't exactly give her an S because while she is memorable, she doesn't appear again in the game, like if you're not playing Paradox. So I'll put her over in the A. So now we have Maya. Maya. Okay, so Lily was interesting because you need her if you want to do the Portatalia side quest. And if you want to get the balls for the summoning of Golda because of Kraken. And she basically leads you to Kraken, which makes Luca whatever. But other than that, I think you do get a scene in the ending? I think so. She's memorable in that sense, but I'm not gonna put her over in the ass because she likes cucking her husband, I guess. Personally, I don't really like her all that much. So, I think it's between A or B. Because there are also mermaids out there. I don't know, I'll put over in the A for now. So now we have Meda, a very, very forgettable monster. You only really encounter her in the cavern in the Ilias continent. She does stuff, I guess. Her CG is okay, unique, I suppose, but she's very forgettable. When you think of a monster, you don't exactly think of Meda. So I'll put her over in the D tier. Lily. She was part of one of the main plots in the Wishful Village, which was very nice, and she also appears in chapter 3, I think. And yeah, that is Lily. She does her experiments and whatever. She's very memorable because of her clothes and what she does, and she's a plot point for Luca. So because of that, I'll put her over in the A. So this is Leech Girl. She is in the Ilias continent, if I recall. Let me check. Leech Girl, yeah. So basically, if you ever decided to continue with the game and don't want to do one of the side quests, your biggest obstacle would be Leech Girl, because she would basically give you an instant game over if you don't have enough XP to go by, unless you're playing on X mode, and that's just dumb. Other than that, forgettable monster. So besides that little challenge you do yourself, she's very forgettable, and she goes in the D tier. So the genie was interesting. She's one of the very few monsters in chapter 1 that you can actually like say no, I don't want to be 10-10 and stuff, and or you can also just outright ignore her. So, yeah, if you do decide to fight her and you win, well, she just goes away, I guess. She does give you XP if you decide not to fight her. So, I put her over in C, but she's still very forgettable. Now we're, with the Lamia. The first Lamia, in the game, well, besides Alice, that she has one of, like, 2 or 3 CGs? Something like that, and 2 or 3 attack forms, because she's resilient, I guess. She's very unique, she's very cute, I guess. She is a memorable monster. She's kind of forgettable because she only appears in chapter 1, which is sad. I'm gonna put her over in the A tier because of her CGs and stuff, but like I said, she's forgettable, so she goes in the B tier, unfortunately. We still have a bunch of monsters. It's chapter 1. Okay, so Kraken is, well, like I said about Maya, she's interesting in the sense that, she's the one that basically fights Luca. She does her aqua pentagram. And, yeah, Alice makes Luca sleep so he can fight her, and it's all interesting and good and whatever. And yeah, she's a memorable monster, I suppose. Her CG is dumb though, so I'll put her over in the A section, mostly because she comes back in the side stories, and they're quite funny. So now we have Kitsune. So Kitsune, you encounter her in the cavern when you try to get Poseidon on his mouth. She's a very funny monster, very memorable, because she tries her best not to lose to you, but she's too cocky, so she basically ends up losing against you. The only really way you can actually lose would be if you actually surrender to her. And yeah, so to me she would be considered, because she's also in Paradox, and she's funny with her cousin, I guess. and because of that, I guess she would be either an A or an S. But because she appears in Paradox, which is quite funny, I would put her over in the S. It's just sad that she doesn't appear more often in the end of the chapter 3 in the original trilogy. So just because of her appearance in Paradox, I'd put her over in S. Otherwise, she would be an A for sure. So, Jellyfish Girl. Jellyfish Girl is very peculiar. She's a very first monster that you have to attack when she does her prevention move. And if you don't, well, it's an instant game over. But other than that, a very forgettable monster. So I'll put her over in the B tier because she caused so many of my speedruns of the game to lose because I kept forgetting what to do. But other than that, she's in the OK tier. Next we have the Iron Maiden. The Iron Maiden, it's funny. Basically, if you don't use your common sense, like using Sylph and or attacking when she's open, it's an easy fight. Fortunately, she also comes back in chapter 3, well, under a different form. So yeah, if you do lose, her CG is very peculiar too, so that's interesting. So just because of that, I'll put her over in the A tier. Because she does come back and her CGs are quite memorable and her aesthetics are very nice. So now we have the Harpy Twins. If I recall, this was one of the very few monsters that I actually lost to because I wasn't sure or the RNG just wanted to screw with me. The Harpy Twins were kind of funny. All the Harpies are. And I think because I lost because I misread or something. But it was funny how every time you get bounded by these Harpies that you can just like attack and you would be basically set free. And to me they're memorable, but overall I think they're not, but they do appear in the ending of the Harpies in the trilogy, and in Paradox they do appear as well. So just because of those scenes, I would put her over in the S tier. Technically, if it were my list, I would put her over in the SS tier, but because I have to be a bit impartial, I'm putting her over in the S tier. So yeah. Now we have the Harpy, the original Harpy. She's nice, she's cool, she's interesting, she does her stuff. You learn that you can attack Harpies when you're bounded, and yeah. She is memorable in the sense that she does appear in the ending. Her CG is quite good, and she does appear a bunch of times in chapter 3, not like you see her necessarily, but in the wars against the angels, I guess. So because of that, she would also join up with the other S tier characters. However, she does also make an appearance in Ecstasy's mod, which is basically New Game Plus, and then she has like her own backstory package. I get that it's fan-made, but that still counts somewhat. So because of that, I would have to put her over in the SS tier. Because it's very rare for a monster to actually get that kind of attention. And yeah, her CG is cute, so I guess overall. Oh, and also all of the Harpies, if you do lose to them, they become your waifus, so there's that, I suppose. Now we have Grambaria. This is gonna be very biased, but I'm not that much of a fan of Grambaria. She's cool, I get that, and she is basically a stalker to Luca, all in his quest because, oh, you defeated me somehow, now we must fight, and stuff. So I do often very much forget her when I'm doing my nutshells as well. These days I try not to forget about her, but yeah. I wasn't much of a fan of her scenes in the CGs. I know she has an ending and stuff, so whatever. Personally, I would put her over in the A tier, but because I don't want like people to hate me because of my very biased tier, I'll just put her over in the S tier. Okay, no more hates? Okay. Ghost. So, Ghost Girl. Ghost Girl, she only appears in the mansion of Chrome, and she basically serves as a plot point for Alice to go, I hate ghosts, ghosts don't exist, ghosts are magical, and yeah, that's pretty much it. She makes a comeback in Paradox, but besides side quests, she isn't that interesting. So she is cool, I guess. But just because of the plot point of Alice, I would put her over in the sea. Next up, we have the Goblin Girl. She's interesting. She is very cute because she does appear in chapter 1. She does help with stuff, and then she reappears in chapter 3, and then just like leaves for some reason, and then she just reappears in the ending. So she is kind of interesting. It's just kind of sad that we don't get enough screen time for her as we do for the other monsters. So just because of that, I'll put her over in the A tier. Okay. So now we have Gnome. I have another Gnome too. So Gnome, she's a spirit. She's very nice. I love her. She's the best. And very biased, I know. She's cool. She's quiet. She's calm, and she basically helps self like the check and stuff. And she basically teaches Rika how to use the earth, which is like a game changer if you think about it. How many times Rika almost lost many monsters if it didn't have self. Otherwise, yeah, she's a pretty good fun overall monster. And her CG is kind of interesting, especially if you lose. I forgot how she was in Paradox though. But just because of that, I'll put her over in the A tier, S tier. Oops. In the S tier you go. Okay, now we have Frederica. Frederica is very memorable because she does appear in chapter 1, she does appear in chapter 3. Chapter 3 she's incredibly funny because she appears as Frederica Tank! And it's very funny how she just like destroys walls, I think, and defeats monsters somehow because she's genetically modified by Chrome and stuff. She also has the longest CG in chapter 1, so yeah. I would put her over in A tier, but because of that scene in chapter 3 that's incredibly funny, I would put her over in the S tier. So now we have fairy 1, fairy 2, fairy 3, and fairy 4, I believe? Oh no, not fairy 4. So these fairies, they only really appear if you're in the Forest of Spirits, and if you fight them, it's because Luca was like, oh my god, fairies in my Christian video game? Nope. Then you basically fight them. Otherwise, they are kind of memorable in the sense that they are with the king and the kids and the ghosts and whatever happens in Vanilla. They are very prominent in both chapter 1 and 2. I think 2? I'm not sure in 2, but in 3 for sure. And yeah, just because of the fun aspects, I guess I would put them all over in the, not exactly S tier, but B tier, I guess. I'm not saying that they're bad, but they are worth a few chuckles, I guess. Okay. So now we have the fairy, the first fairy that you encounter in the Forest of Spirits. This fairy uses a plant to do stuff. And that's about it. She doesn't be memorable besides being the first fairy. So I don't know, RCG is fine, I suppose. I'll put her over in the C tier. Moving on, Earthworm Girl. She appears in chapter 1. That's cool. I forget where she actually appeared in though. Earthworm Girl. Yeah, she appears after you get the sword from from Alice. And then she's your first monster that you can defeat her basically. And yeah, I guess she's memorable in that sense, but not enough. So personally, I would put her over in the C tier. Elf. She is from the Forest of Spirits. I'm kind of sad that she doesn't appear in chapter 3. You'd assume so because of Enrica, but she doesn't. She just sticks in chapter 1. And very forgettable, but you can attack her when she's trying to bind you. So because of that, she goes in the C tier. The Dark Elf Mage. Very forgettable monster. I guess that you can attack when you're bounded by this thing, but I don't know. Her monster period entry was kind of interesting though, but not enough to be over any other list, other tier. So Dark Elf Fencer. I don't know. It's the same as the Dark Elf Mage. Like they're okay, I guess, but that's about it. And you only really appear in chapter 1 too. So now we have Dragon Pup. Dragon Pup is cute, I guess, because she is the leader of the 4 bandits and she does stuff, and she also appears in chapter 3 to help defend Elisberg against the angel attack. So she also appears in Paradox, which makes her really useful, really fun, and you have some kind of funny conversations with her. So because of that, I'll put her over the S tier. So now we have Cursed Doll. Forgettable monster. I can't really say all that much. She appears in the mention, I guess, but no. Okay, so now this one is very special. The Crab Girl. She appears in chapter 1, she appears in chapter 2. I'm not sure if she appears in chapter 3, but I think she appears over in the endings, I'm not sure really. And she appears in the OVA of all places. Oh my goodness. She appears in the OVA of Mother Girl Quest. Like, why? Why her? Why? Oh, she's also one of the very few monsters that lets Luca go after she's finished with him. And Luca's like, no, F that, I want to go back in there and, like, want to have fun with the rest of my life with her. And she doesn't care. So, because of that, she's a very memorable monster. Because she's very memorable, I'll put her over in the S tier. Okay, so now we have the Cobra Girl. She's in the pyramid with Sarah, and if you lose, whatever, she's very forgettable. I think all of the pyramid monsters, besides things, are just forgettable. Chrome. Chrome is very funny overall. She's in chapter 1. I'm not sure if she's in chapter 2. She is in chapter 3. Very funny parts. We also get to know a lot about Chrome. She's also in Paradox, and we get to know even more about Chrome in Paradox. She's not my personal best, unfortunately. I know she's good and stuff, but just because she is like the best, one of the best monsters overall, I would put her over the S tier. So now we have Chimera Dried Vor. One of the very few monsters that attacks Luca with, well, like the Yan. Well, not Yan, I mean like a Dere. She doesn't do all that much. Well, she tries to kill Luca, but then he learns about Sylph, and then she's basically useless. So she is as memorable as she is forgettable. As weird as that sounds. So because of that, I'll put her over the C tier. Now we have page, if I recall, page 257. Page 257. She's one of the book monsters. I guess it's okay. Doesn't really interest me all that much. Very forgettable. She has her unique moments, but I don't know. I'll just put her over in the C tier. So next up we have, it's the Bee. The Bee Girl, yay! She, one of the very few monsters you encounter on your way to Happiness Village. Besides that, not much else to think about her, I guess. She's very forgettable though. So, see here. Now we have the Antlion Girl. She only appears in chapter 1 when you're trying to look for Gnome. And she has one of the very few scenes where if you don't constantly attack her, you basically lost the game, I guess. So because of that, and her CG is quite unique, she would go over the B section because she doesn't reappear in the game. So now we have Anemone. Wait, C Anemone Girl. Okay, so this one, well, it's just like the Antlion Girl. You have to attack until you can, and very forgettable. She is drawn quite well, but it's not enough to like make her think as someone that needs to be talked over regularly. So now we have Anger Girl. She only appears once again on the way to Kraken, and she doesn't even notice you most of the time. So I'll put her over in the D tier because her CG is just stupid. Then we have Elma. She is a recurrent character in all of the chapters, in all of the games as well. I really can't say much about her. She's a succubus. She's very loved by everyone. Everyone loves her. She has her unique sign, whatever. So she's in the double S tier, of course. There's not much to be said because she's just that perfect. Oh my goodness. Now we have Alice. Alice in her monster form as well. Yay! Well, she's the best monster overall. I really can't say much about her because she's basically a protagonist and she doesn't count. But still, she does need her place over in the SS tier. Now we have the zombie girls. Gross. Okay. Let me try to grab that. Okay, I know there's a side story about them, but I never really tried to look into it. They just look gross overall. It's like, we get it, they're zombies, but still, it's just, and they do appear in Paradox, but, I don't know, doesn't appeal to me all that much. So, they'll be placed over in the D tier, because that's just what they are. Now the last zombie, I believe. If I recall the name of the zombie, it's just Zombie Girl? Okay. She doesn't reappear in the games. She has a dagger. That's really it about her character. I guess she's memorable because she isn't in that group, but yeah, I don't know. We'll just put her over the D tier. And now we're almost done with the list. Yay! Oh, this monster should appear here. This is Yukiona from part 2. I'll just skip her for now. Nope. Now this is the Worm Villager. One of the human girls transforms into a tentacle, or at least tentacly armed. And she's memorable, I guess, but after the whole Wishful Village subplot, not so much, I guess. You can always talk to her back in chapter 3, but no, not really. So, because of her CG alone, I guess she would be in the B tier. Okay, so now this one is the Twin Fairies. The Twin Fairies, just like the regular fairy, they're cute, I guess. We get to see the mechanic. You can't actually try to attack them when bound and whatever. Her CG is okay, I guess, I suppose, but it's very forgettable once again. Now we have the Tarantula Girl. Did she present one? I'm not sure. Let me check real quick. Tarantula. Yeah, she appears just after Sylph. I mean, after the command tried, I guess. You can use Sylph, but not really. It's not necessarily. Just because of that, she's very forgettable. She is a spider too, so D tier. So now we have the Vampire Girl, the tiny Vampire Girl. She just like Dragon Pop, she appears in chapter 3 as well. She's very useful. In Paradox, she's very funny. S tier. Tiny Lamia, same concept. She appears in chapter 3. She is fun. She has one of the endings. Really fun overall. Yeah, now we have Tianama, of course. We know what rank she goes to, it's obvious. There's like no questions asked about her. Now we have the Sakvor. The Sakvor basically are girls that couldn't keep their human form, just became obsolete monsters. Like, yeah, I guess it's cool and all, but no. I'll put them over in the B, in the C tier. Now we have Sphinx. She appears in chapter 1. You don't actually fight her all that much, but of course if you press the wrong questions or you're just dumb overall, she bores you basically. I can't say she's one of my favorite monsters. She does appear, I think, in chapter 2, maybe 3? I'm not sure, but yeah. I'll put her over the 8 here, just because of her design looks cool overall. So now we have Spider Girl, very forgettable monster, yada yada yada. Let's move on, not very interesting. And finally we have the Slug Girl. The Slug Girl, it is kind of funny how you beat her with salt and stuff. Just because of that, I'll put her over in the S tier. I do believe I'm missing some monsters. I think I'm missing like Sylph and stuff. So, I'm not missing much monsters though. Yeah, I'm not missing most monsters. Just need a Sylph sprite that I forgot to take. Okay, so now we have the last monster, which is, well, Sylph. Sylph, just like Gnome, she appears all over all of the 3 chapters. She's quite funny, she's quite cute. When she has the comic strips, I guess, she's kind of funny overall. And she does have her own thing, and she does help you, whatever. So of course, she's double S. Because unlike Gnome, she does have her good points, and she does have her own, like, tiny redemption arc. And I don't know, I guess she's cool now. So this is my list for chapter 1. It's possible that I may have skipped some monsters unintentionally, but yeah, if you guys have any problems with my list, that's your fault. Good, get good. So yeah, so I'll do chapter 2 eventually, because it was kind of like long to make overall. And yeah, if you guys like my list and want me to make more of these random videos, just comment down below. I'll try to make more and whatever. So again, this is your host EdxSarxNatxChoc. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time.